Hey everybody, we're here with Zvi Band, who's the CEO of Contactually, one of the best real estate CRMs and maybe frankly CRMs all around. And we're here today to talk about relationship marketing in particular, sort of pain points that agents have, and the idea that it's something where it's maybe a new concept, something you might not understand. So we figured we'd go right to the source. Zvi started Contactually, was it 5-10 years ago?
It was 6 years ago. I feel like I've aged 10 years, but it's been going so fast that I still think it was last year that I started it. So sure, why not? All the above.
That sounds perfect. I know that for startups, it's like feast or famine, and you guys have seen like incredible success over the past 6 years. I know you're growing sort of leaps and bounds. In our sister site, Fit Small Business, we absolutely love Contactually. I think you have a product that is kind of head and shoulders, and a lot of people are trying to do a Swiss Army knife, and you guys just have a precision scalpel that just, seems to work great. So why don't we just kind of start out for people who may be kind of new to, even to CRMs in general. You'd be surprised, I know, I won't name names, but I know an agent on a team who just sold, an eight-figure listing in Manhattan. He came to me looking for advice via CRM, and I asked him what he was using, and he said he was using Excel. So just this is sort of just for the people who maybe are sort of catching on, new agents. I know that Contactually focuses more on relationship marketing.
Yep.
So maybe if you can kind of talk a little bit about what relationship marketing it is, why it's a better system to nurture leads, and maybe how Contactually or other CRMs, or maybe even just as a concept that people can apply to their lead nurturing.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, thank you so much for having me, and especially braving the flu to have this conversation today. So relationship marketing, let's pull back and kind of, as a real estate agent, and again, real estate agents, I hate to say, are not unique beasts, because there are lawyers and financial advisors, consultants, and small business owners and entrepreneurs. They share the same trait where, when you boil it down, their core asset is who they know and who knows them, right? That is their currency, especially in a world where the knowledge gap disappears, because I can go on Zillow or Redfin to find any property I want. The skills gap is gone, because there are 1.2 million other real estate agents in the US that can do what you do. And so we're really left with that relationship gap. How do I build and maintain that best relationship? And so relationship marketing is all about this general idea and practice of, how do I better market my skills and my services to and through my relationships to nurture new, repeat, and referral business. So it's really taking this whole idea of, I know people are important some way, and I care about referrals. It's breaking it down into, what is the exact strategy? Who do I talk to? When do I need to talk to them? What do I say? And that really is solved through both people, processes, and technology. And Contactually, we're thankful that we provide what we believe, and what our many customers believe, is one of the best pieces of technology to help solve that relationship marketing challenge.
Great, yeah, and I think that's such an important concept that everyone sort of understands intuitively. I think, like you said, most people that are in sales are like, well, I need to develop these relationships to move my business to the next level. But it kind of gets lost when it comes down to the actual processes and the actual strategy. Like I said, I've known a lot of agents who, they have a birthday list, they have a list of, anniversaries for move-ins and move-outs and that kind of stuff, and that works to some extent. But to do this really, effectively, and especially in 2018, there's a lot better tools that you can use that are going to sort of augment, the Excel sheet or the email list or stuff like that.
Yeah, and so I think that's kind of one of the interesting things is, I think the first step is to take that, like that New Year's resolution of saying, I want to be better at my relationships, and breaking that down into the strategy that you want to do, like that, okay, this is a strategic process I'm going to follow. And then the next is, the tools. So I actually think, listen, if you're making the Excel spreadsheet work for you, great. I know Fortune 500 CEOs who literally their process is every morning they wake up and they write down on a piece of paper a list of the 10 people they want to talk to that day. They put in their pocket, and then over the day they'll email those people. That might work, right? The challenge is, especially in this day and age, Excel spreadsheets and thousands of contacts and who do I need to talk to? That's where, those things, for most people very quickly fall apart. And we built Contactually hoping that we can actually solve that issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, also it's, when you're talking about CEOs or people that, are at the sort of 30,000 foot view of any kind of business, their sort of circle is a lot smaller in some ways because they have maybe 10, 15 people that they really need to, maybe someone comes in, a new client, they have to woo or something. But, real estate is such a numbers game, especially, here in New York City, it's like, we're dealing with renters. So renters, I might get, I'm not working as agent right now, but, when I was working as agent, I could get, 50 calls in a weekend. I could get, just it's sort of churn and burn. And I think, the sheer volume of people that real estate agents need, just the numbers that they need to convert at whatever, 3%, 1%, it's just a lot higher. So that's where, I think this focus on relationships, kind of comes good.
So and I think that goes back to that issue, why I started Contactually, 6 years ago, is, I think, there are, it's not even a matter of like how many people we need to engage with per se, but it's also just the number of people coming into our sphere every day, right? The human mind, your research has proven that the human mind can only remember 150 people at any one time. And usually those are the 150 people that you've been engaging with most recently, maybe not necessarily the most important people. So, I would meet someone for coffee and then 2 weeks later, completely forget about them. And so, if I can't remember who I sat down for half an hour with and had coffee, how is a real estate agent going to remember the lead that came in 3 months ago? Right. And so, I think that that is the big opportunity. That is kind of the big gap in the human condition that technology really can fill it incredibly well.
Definitely. So I wonder, so speaking to that, so how do you think agents today, talking just where we are in 2018, I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to sort of, not the drip emails or anything or new technology or, but I think people are starting to wake up and say, hey, look, I can kind of systematize this. I can, send these templates and I can make this so it's a lot less, sort of, busy work. I don't have to get down to the weeds. I can just sort of set it and forget it in a sense. But so how do you think, because I feel like a lot of agents do that, but maybe they err a little too much on the side of, just automation, and they don't really have that sort of personal touch in there. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's something where people think like, oh, well, I get these market reports from my broker, and it's like, oh, this is the vacancy rate, blah, blah, blah. And they just kind of pump it out, and it's not making that sort of personal touch. It's like a birthday or something like that. So how do you think, is there something, like, do you think that agents are doing a good job of this in your sense right now, or is it something that?
I think there's definitely something there, and that's kind of the issue, right? I think, agents, I think, unless you are really great at building and maintaining rapport, you're dead, right? You're really not in business as a real estate agent, let's face it. I think this is one of those points where, all right, they know that digital marketing is really important, and being able to strategically market themselves is important. I think this is where, and that's maybe an issue where other industries are coming in and somewhat corrupting it, right? Because, you'll bring in a tool like MailChimp or a HubSpot or something like that, or some general digital marketing practices that are meant for brands and companies to maintain relationships with thousands of contacts, right? And, in a very brand specific way. And that kind of over automation and over mechanization, yeah, that can kind of lead people astray. I think, listen, it's still important to have a monthly newsletter and send, the market updates, but still, an agent, and a consumer still has to have that personal relationship. So I think, yes, if like, one-to-one relationships, sitting down, being together, is on one side, and then, mass marketing is on the other, there is that gap in between. I think that's where an agent has the opportunity to really focus on, because this is, this becomes the root of the issue that we see is that, in the present day and age, we're so stuck in focusing on what's urgent, like meaning like the push notification that came up, the listing appointment I have today, the lead that just showed up, the inspection that isn't happening, the transaction I have to close this moment, that we often lose sight of the longer term opportunities, right? Who are we going to do business with in 3 years? Therefore, I just want to touch base with them today and check in and make sure they know that I'm in their corner. And that is really the core essence of relationship marketing. How do we break out of the urgent and the tyranny of it, and spend more time on that important side?
The tyranny of the urgent. I'm going to have to steal that from you.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it.
Every time you say it.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so much. We actually have it's not something we invented, but there's this idea of rocks. Have you heard of this? So it's this idea that so you have the sort of bigger long-term goals that you have, and you have the sand and this, the pebbles that are sort of the smaller day-to-day emergencies and fires that come up. And focusing on the long term is super important.
Like so we can spend all day in our inbox, right?
Right. Oh yeah, easily.
All day in our inbox responding to like what just came in, and completely forget about, let's say, kind of go 3 or 4 pages back in our inbox and kind of going, oh, I talked to that person 2 weeks ago and I haven't spoken to him since. Maybe it's worth sending her a message, right?
Yeah. So what? Just out of curiosity, what are your thoughts on? There's a lot of talk about there's AI coming in, and there's all this stuff that's supposedly going to be able to disrupt lead nurturing, and it's going to do this. But I still am sort of under the idea that, again, the little personal touches that counts, which is why even something that's super corny, like the pop by gift with a little corny message on it, it's just like it puts you in it helps you get that build a rapport, rather than just you're a faceless, nameless, information sort of person who's just giving them market news. So do you think that that is there like an equivalent? Is there like a digital equivalent, like of some of that pop by gift? Like, is there something, like, I know you guys have dabbled with like handwritten notes and stuff like that get sent out, or is there anything you think that might kind of replace that, or is that something that agents are always going to have to just sort of, shoe leather is going to have to kind of.
And absolutely. I mean, I think if it's important, I think, to kind of identify, like with that pop by gift, or the closing gift, or the personal coffee, what is it, and what's going on there. And my friend Jason Gaynard, he runs a great series of events for CEOs. He kind of told me one day that caring is the ultimate competitive advantage, right? And what we're doing with that pop by gift, or with that personal outreach, or the holiday present, is we're showing that we care about them, right? And especially when you're dealing with such an incredibly valuable transaction, like, my biggest asset, the biggest purchase I'm ever going to make. It's terrifying. It's scary. I need to make sure that I have the best person in my corner. Making sure that I'm working with someone who does care about me, that matters a lot, right? I'm in the market for a new home. Don't tell anyone. And I'm working with a number of different agents, and I'm able to see clearly, like, all right, who's treating me as another contact in their database, for lack of a better term, and who's going above and beyond and showing, they really care about me. And I think, it can be translated in a digital way in pretty straightforward ways.
Yeah, I think one cool thing that we've sort of it's come on our radar recently is a company called EvaBot. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so
The
it's a
gifting, right?
really it's an interesting idea, and I think it's also this thing where it's making, it helps you make this personal collection, but it also kind of increases the distance in a sense, because it's like, it helps you figure out what they want
Yeah.
ostensibly, but if you're if you're building rapport with somebody, you should that's kind of the point of giving a gift, like you get to know somebody and say, oh, I think they would like this, and there's some thought behind it. So I
Yeah,
think,
and, no,
yeah, I
and
think,
that's okay, right? I think at the end of the day, like when the important thing, I think, and this is something we get caught into sometimes too, is like, there's all this talk about, it's all about the follow up and the follow up and the follow up.
hmm,
Yeah, I mean, following up is basically just means maintaining cadence. But
yeah,
really, what you're trying to do in that is you're trying to deliver value, right? And show you're valuable and show you care. And yeah, I mean, giving a gift is really valuable. But at the same time, to your point, if you over mechanize it to say, oh, clearly I'm just, a line in an Excel spreadsheet that says,
yeah.
okay, you should care about a meal today, that does detract it. And so that's why the over automation, it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Definitely. And then so finally, I guess, again, another kind of big picture question. I think, we can get down into the weeds and as far as lead nurturing and technology and all that, but just a bigger picture question. We keep hearing these sort of rumors, the impending disruption that AI is going to bring, but I don't see it. I feel like awesome.
Yeah.
There's we have a lot of remote workers in the Philippines, and they do amazing work. And it's that personal, just okay, yeah, I'm a human, and I get you. And I think I feel like that it's just people are going to automatically sniff it out. And if they don't, like God forbid, like you say, you're looking for a house, like I'm sure. Like, have you gotten canned email responses and recognized them as
Oh
coming
yeah,
from a
of course.
CRM or?
Yeah.
So, I mean, because once these things become popular, it's like, why wouldn't everyone use them? First of all, because if they're great and they're A/B tested to get the best conversion rate, blah blah blah. But then
Like,
once
I mean, I
everyone's
can tell, I can tell, for example, at this point, I can almost tell which automated marketing tool they're using these days based on the design of the email. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I can tell, yeah, that's coming from that system, or I can
mm,
tell you're paying that service, who I know and love, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But yeah, you're right. Like maybe I sit in a unique place because I know so many.
yeah,
But I think there is a little bit of concern that it becomes an arms race, and everyone's arming themselves with
yeah.
all these tools, and that's why I do think using those tools in the right way, but then again layering in your own personal and authentic relationship building on top of it, that is going to be the competitive advantage.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and it just seems like drone photography and the 3D tours and all this, and everybody said, oh, this is open doors coming. It's going to be the end of the agent, and but yeah, I'm sort of heartened to see that that you're a tech guy and you're kind of agreeing with me here, hopefully.
Oh, absolutely. I
So
mean, remember, actually a software developer by trade,
yeah, right.
right? And I'm actually like naturally an incredible introvert. So I actually
Yeah,
spent 2 weeks on the road just now. I came back and I spent the entire last weekend just literally in a hole, not talking to anyone, right? But yeah, I learned early on that that there's such incredible value in relationships, and
yeah.
that is really what set me on this path. So no, this is something I'm thankful to be able to dedicate the past 6 years of my life to.
You're saving introverts and bringing them up into the daylight. I love it. Cool. So just one more quick thing. What about, so I noticed that you guys have something called like a best time to send email intelligence, and I just sort of came across that, and I'm just curious if you could just give a quick, I mean, if anything proprietary, we don't have to get into the skunk works here, but just a quick overview of how that works for lead nurturing. Is it something where it's just time of day, or is it by lead, or?
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about, you touched on a little bit earlier, like this, this, I do believe it's a overhyped concern about artificial intelligence and it potentially replacing us entirely, right? And I don't think that's the point. I think it's really thinking about how can artificial intelligence actually help us.
Hmm.
So yeah, the best time to send and where we're heading to as an intelligent CRM is how do we take the information that we have and help you in the way, right? So what we do is, again, we're tracking 250 million relationships at any point in time. We're pulling all of your email conversations. We're looking at all of your calendar appointments. So we're pulling in all this information for you. What we do with that is then how do we help you with that? And so one thing, again, we're looking at 250 million relationships. I can tell based on the patterns that you and I are using to communicate that the best time to send you an email is at 10 a.m. Why? Because that is when you're most responding to people. That's when you're engaging with the most number of messages. So I know that if I want to email Emil, all right, 10 a.m. is the best time. And so Contactually, our whole purpose is you don't care about the algorithms and all the prediction stuff that we do behind the scenes. You just want to know, all right, when Contactually says you should reach out, Contactually says, hey, by the way, email him at 10 a.m. Click here and we're going to automatically schedule the message to go out this time.
That's great. Yeah, that's super important. And I think it's nice to see, people that you're trying to get to sort of bring this into the fold and saying, look, we have, and the amazing thing too is just having access to that data, which is just unbelievable. And I think it's going to lead to even greater stuff down the road. So Zvi, and so just to be clear, am I pronouncing Zvi correctly?
You got it. Listen,
Yes.
every relationship I have in my life has begun with like, so how do I say her name?
Yeah.
So no, we're doing great, man.
Awesome. Same way. Yeah. My name is Emil, spelled Emile. So yeah, we're sort of in the unique name club together. So I'm glad I nailed that on the first try. So awesome. Hey, it's been absolutely fabulous talking to you. Is there anything you want to kind of mention for our listeners? Anything you got coming down the pike that you think is exciting? New products, cool stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so Jeff Bezos, has CEO of Amazon, has this attitude that every day is day one. And that's definitely something that we subscribe to at Contactually, right? We believe that relationships will always be this important asset. That's one thing that won't change. But then everything in terms of how we interact them, how we build and maintain relationships, that is what is so incredibly powerful. And so, yeah, I mean, we know we're just at the beginning of our journey. We're thankful to partner with thousands of agents and work with 7 of the top 20 brokerages in the country, as well as dozens of others. But really, like, our mission is we believe that the best businesses are built on personal, authentic relationships. So for any of the listeners here and for anyone that Emil, as you know, our team's incredibly receptive and we're always happy to help in any way.
Awesome. Great. And that's contactually.com.
Contact and actually, if they had a baby, it'd be Contactually.
I never got that one. Awesome. Hey, Zvi, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for your time.